guys, so this is a little story time video that it amused me so much that I felt the need to share it with you guys. That was a thing I didn't even really give a second thought to, but when the way my sister reacted to it really illustrated just how large the age divide is between she and I. And I'm talking about my youngest sister, not the one that's only a few years younger. The one that's 14 years younger. Yeah, her. So, if you're above a certain age, I'm sure you remember a time when nobody batted an eyelash at the idea of using talcum powder. Now, yes, we all know today that is very bad. We don't use that after showers and baths anymore because, yeah, it'll give you ovarian cancer and it's all bad, and that's why we don't use it anymore. It's still in certain makeup products, but just on its own, generally, people don't use that. If they do, that's kind of on them at this point because all of the literature's there. Now, how does this relate to today? No, I was not stupid enough to use the thing in any recent year, don't worry. No, I was on Instagram, and I have this odd little quirk that, for as much as I like to claim that I hate the color pink, apparently I must not. Like, I find myself drawn to it more and more in recent years, actually, to the point where if I just, not even necessarily trying to relax so much as just, I'm upset or I am sad and I want to feel better, I'll find myself on Instagram just looking through hashtags of things like hashtag pink aesthetic, like things like that, just to look at things that are cutesy and specifically pink. Now, why pink? I don't know. I have no idea. My favorite color is not pink. My favorite color is blue. My close second favorite is purple. So you would think I would be going towards either thing like that to look for cutesy things, but no. I don't know why. I always find myself gravitating towards the pink stuff when I want to feel better. So apparently somewhere in my subconscious, pink is still like a safe space for me and makes me feel good. As much as I like to claim, nah, I hate pink, it's like, I'm realizing more and more I kind of do love it, to the point where I am half considering buying a baby pink office chair, so that's where we're at this point, because I apparently don't actually hate it in reality. So, what does this have to do with anything? So a few weeks ago, I was in one of these streaks. I forget what the hell my dad had said or did that had left me all upset, but I found myself just scrolling through this tag, and Kimmy was home, and I was like, I'm gonna run this past her and ask her take on this, because she's a psychology major, and she, like, one of her favorite psychological things to, like, pick apart and look at is, like, color theory, and how it relates to people's mental states, and what things represent, and how it affects them, and this, that, and the other. I was like, oh, this would be right up her alley. I'd like to hear her take on why is it that I always gravitate towards pink when I generally say that I hate that color, and yet when I want to feel good, that's what I look at. So I got into this, and she was playing armchair psychology with me and giving her theories on it, which all made perfect sense. And while she was talking, I was literally still scrolling through there, even as she was explaining things, because I'm a little Miss ADD over here. But, I stumbled on this one picture that just, like, stopped me in my tracks, to where I even had to, like, show it to her. It was this picture of, like, all this cutesy, like, kawaii style, almost just, like, really vintage Barbie stuff. Like, everything in this photo was, like, 80s and early 90s Barbie stuff. And I was like, literally my childhood. And I was like, Kim, look, I owned, like, every single thing in this photo when I was little. Like, there is not a thing here that I didn't have. Like, I had the phone, I had the Barbie that came with, like, the not shaving, but the, shower foam, I had this doll, I had that accessory, I had this, that, and then she all of a sudden asks, what's that cylinder over there? And, oh, that? Oh, that was the Barbie talcum powder. Like, every freaking, like, beauty kit for kids came with that, and she just gave me this look like I'd kicked a puppy or something. She's like, did you just say talcum powder? And I was like, yeah. Oh my god. That's like, you may as well have been using asbestos. I was like, okay, relax. Back then, nobody knew that it was bad, and a good portion of women used talcum powder after they would bathe to help them dry off better. And she's just like, but it gives you cancer. I'm like, yeah, but no one knew that back then. Like, it wasn't just Barbie kits that had that in it. Like, I had those Tinkerbell kits that had it in it too. I had, like, Lady Lovely Locks ones that had it in it. I had My Little Pony ones that had it in it. I believe there was even, like, a Princess Peach one that had it in it. I had a bunch of, like, no-name ones. I had, like, the Baby Soft, or Love's Baby Soft, or whatever the hell it is. I had one of that. There was, like, some Avon ones I had. My mom used it. My nana used it, which I suppose are not good examples here. Yeah, I should probably, there probably is a link between some of my health issues and the fact that I used to use that, but regardless, beside the point. And she's just like, you know, it's bad enough that that stuff is still in things like eyeshadow, but you guys were out here putting straight talc on your bodies. Your whole generation is going to die. And I was like, again, no one knew that this stuff was bad for you back then. Like, you can't just retroactively be like, oh, we learned like 20, 30 years later that this stuff's terrible for you, so let's time travel back and unuse the thing. Like, I wish it worked that way. I'm sure a lot of people with specifically asbestos really wish it worked that way, but, no, like, I can't unuse the talcum powder that was used as a child years and years ago. And she's just looking at me like, you're like a ticking time bomb. You are going to get cancer and die. I was like, dude, you need to chill. If I am, then basically my whole generation's fucked, because we basically all used it. And she just, like, could not wrap her head around the fact that this was ever a normalized thing. And it really drove home how big of an age gap those 14 years are between she and I. It was just, like, totally different times. Like, so many things that were totally normal when I was little horrify her. This is, like, not the only example. That is just, like, the most recent one. But I'm just like, there's, like, no explaining it in a way where it makes sense to them. That, well, I mean, you know, people used to think that you smoked for, like, glamour, beauty, and health, too, back in the 40s, and yeah, now we know that shit makes you die. It's, like, the same kind of deal. People didn't know back then. We know now. We do better now, but we didn't know back then. I'm sure there's plenty of shit now that's horrible for us that we use too, that we don't know yet, that we'll learn down the line. Yeah, you're all gonna die from using that, but what can you do? But she was horrified, but not only was it so normalized, but that it was in children's products. I was like, oh dude, if you had any idea how many of those kits that I had that in it. More horrifying is, like, the incident my mom would never let me live down, where I took one of those as, like, I don't know if I was, like, a toddler or what, but I was very, very small. I was small enough to still be an only child, and I apparently felt the need to coat every last surface in my bedroom, including myself, but literally the entire bedroom with the stuff. All of it. Everywhere. And she said she tried for weeks to clean this up, and she couldn't vacuum it because you'd vacuum it and it would just poof it back into the air, and it would resituate back down on the floor, and it was like a never-ending cycle of trying to clean it and getting nowhere. She never forgave me for that day. Yeah, that. I mean, I was a tiny little kid. I didn't know, but I just saw pretty clouds that came out of the thing when I shook it, but I don't actively remember doing the thing. I've just heard tell so many times over so many years that I did the thing that I'm apparently never going to be forgiven for. Oh my god, like, to where my dad, to this day, anything that is in a powder format that I'm anywhere near, he's like, don't you dare shake it! And I'm like, again, I am not a toddler. I am not going to repeat the mistake that you guys will never let me live down as long as I live. Trust me, I'm good. But Kimmy's like, So you didn't only even just use the stuff, you literally coated your whole room and yourself in it. You're seriously gonna die. I was like, if I had $1 for every time in that conversation that she told me I was going to die because I used to use talcum powder, I could probably buy Animal Crossing right now. Oh my god, yeah, it's so weird to think about because it doesn't feel like there's that huge of an age gap between she and I until something like that comes up where it's just so monumentally different to her than it ever was to me. To where it's like, wow, I guess you really are like that much younger. You're like a whole different generation younger. That's so weird. It makes me feel so old. Oh god. Anyway, I had to share that with you guys because I'm sure there's a good portion of you on this channel who are old enough to remember that stuff, who probably also owned it too and thought nothing of it back then. Yeah, again, we're probably all fucked now, but oh well. Can't undo the damage, can only move forward, but regardless. I thought you guys would get a kick out of it just because the reaction was so intense over just the fact that this was ever used at any point in time in my life. So anyways, that's it for this one. There was really no point to the story other than I'm amused by it. So if you like this video, go ahead and give it a like. If you're not already and you'd like to be, click subscribe. Hit that notification bell icon so you never miss an upload. Leave comments down below. Make sure you're following my social media accounts, my Facebook fan page, my Twitter, my Instagram, my Etsy, everything and more. It's all down below. And if you like what I do here on this channel, you'd like to help support it, the donation link, as always, is down in the description. So anyway, guys, until next time, bye-bye.